two things about the Democrats deriving from New York Times stories. First, Dan, a story about I think it was a Politico story about the DNC chair race. The New York Times.
Politico has a piece this
Politico,
morning.
sorry.
Yep.
All right, so that's Politico. So the Politico story says the Democrats are thinking they need maybe a new leadership. So that could be younger people. It could be people who are more outsiders, or it could be people who have kind of tactical ideas about reaching people on TikTok. How fundamental do you see this divide as, and do you think in the end it will be someone who's more of a new generation in any of those areas or not?
Yeah, I think the bigger thing, I mean, I think age is always something that'll be talked about just because it inherently says it new and fresh. But the bigger thing, I think, is this idea of tactics. And it's remarkable that Trump is, at 77, 78 years old, has been perhaps the most nimble, culturally savvy from a communication standpoint president, maybe since Reagan or even greater than Reagan. And I think you have, with these older members, Schumer, Pelosi, others, when I was a chief of staff in the mid 2010s, I can remember Facebook reaching out and saying, we want to do meetings with new House members to talk about how to use the platform, both for governing and for campaigning. And the number of members who were just like, no, like we do press releases, like all the traditional stuff. And even today, like when you look at the way the party responds to a lot of stuff, it is like, we're going to hold a press conference. We're going to, do it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not a very nimble party. And whether it's social media or the use of podcasters and other things, I think what you're hearing is this new generation that is coming up in the ranks that is just like, how is it that we're supposed to be the party of young voters? And we always thought we were close to Silicon Valley and Hollywood. And yet Donald Trump at 78 is the most nimble and savvy, communicator there is, understands pop culture, understands kind of what's next. He's very willing to test things out, to try something new if it's hot, if it's cool, like if it's going to create buzz. And by the way, like he himself communicates directly with people. And we still have, our party, whether it's Biden or, you don't hear Chuck Schumer firing off tweets to get in conversations. It's always like, we're going to speak at 10 a.m. in the, Hart lobby and do it the old fashioned way. And so I think the party is craving a new leader that will modernize capabilities, because the leader is not going to create the message. Candidates will create the message, but they need to put the infrastructure and stuff in place.
Sean, let me ask you.
I love Dan's comment. I just think it's funny that, if you had asked me 10 years ago which party was going to embrace the new media culture and be speaking, I would have not put money on my party. I think Donald Trump, not only, Trump himself, but the age at which he has embraced new media in a way, both social media, the podcast, long form, independent media. It's amazing, because I would have put money on the Democrats doing that before my own party. And I think you're right. It's just a fascinating dynamic that is existing in politics right now.
Well, he's always been a student of pop culture. Like he's always loved it, craved it, wanted to know and be in it. And that's a testament to Trump.